introduction really short because I have a lot to get through in this video, but this is going to be my balancing, my TBR for the month of March. You can go back and watch my one from January, but the idea is that you are trying to get your shelves down, your TBR down to 0, and so you keep a track of how many books you buy versus how many books you read. And the idea is that you're trying to get them down. This month, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. It was not going well for a minute. If you can remember, we finished January on 205 unread books. So leave your guesses in the comments below as to what number you think we're going to finish on today, for the month of February. Now, the way I did the last video, I'm going to do it the same for this one. I'm just going to say the book, whether I bought it or read it, and what number it brings me to, and then tap on the book, because otherwise we would literally be here for hours and hours. But with that, I'm just going to get straight on into balancing my shelves. So we're starting with 205. The first thing I did this month was finish a book from my TBR, which was Heartbreak is the National Anthem, How Taylor Swift Reinvented Pop Music by Rob Sheffield. So this brought us down to 204. Another book, but it was a reread, and so it didn't change the total. That was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. So this keeps us on 204, because although I read it, it wasn't on my physical TBR. So we're still on 204. So yes, this one keeps us on 204. My first pre-order of the month came in, which was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So this brought us back up to 205. To 205. I then read a graphic novel from my physical TBR, which was Phantom Hearts by Rosie Talbot and Sarah Maxwell, which brought us back down to 204. 204. I then read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, which brought us to 203. So at this point, I'm doing so well. I've only bought one book so far, and now I've read it. 203. pre-order came in. Silent Sparrow by Bryn Weaver. So we're back up to 204. So we're back to 204. I then did another reread. So again, it doesn't do anything, it's just Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, but it keeps us on 204. Basically, I shouldn't reread things because I would be down to 202 if I read books that I actually, need to read, but 204. Something to note, if you wanted to hear my thoughts about the books that I did read in February, you can go back and watch my last video, which would be my wrap-up. So 204. I then finished Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver, which means we're down to 203. Look at me actually reading the books that I buy. But 203. I then had another pre-order come in, but it's a pre-order of a box set that I've already read, which is the new Hunger Games editions. So we've got the Hunger Games Catching Fire, Mockingjay and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but because I read them, this doesn't add anything, so we're still on 203. So 203. Now this is where it all starts to go wrong. I bought a book when I went to London, which was Lights Out by Navisa Allen, which brings us back up to 204. So if I get any of these numbers wrong, I'm doing this in my head as I go, but 204. How awful is this cover? It's literally one of the worst things I've ever seen. But 204. It was then Valentine's Day, and I was given books for Valentine's Day. So I got The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mass, which brings us back up to 205. So we're exactly where we started, which is frustrating. This book is stunning though. But yes, we're to 205. Also for Valentine's Day, I got this box set of the Tea Dragon Society, which had the Tea Dragon Society, the Tea Dragon Festival and the Tea Dragon Tapestry. So this brought us up to 208. Yeah. Which is is not good. That's the highest we've been since I started this thing. Oops. But yes, we are up to 208. But not to fear. Don't worry, I then read the Tea Dragon Society. So we're down to 207. This is so cute. I'm obsessed with this. This book was actually also for Valentine's Day, but it didn't arrive in time. So I got it about a week after Valentine's Day, but it was still a Valentine's Day present, and that was Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. My boyfriend said he looked up the craziest spicy book he could find, and this is what he settled on. So we're back up to 208. 208. Then, because my boyfriend and I are so smart, and our anniversary is like 5 days after Valentine's Day, I got some books for Valentine's Day, but they're actually ones that I've already read, so they don't add anything to my TBR, which is fun. This first one, I lost my mind. This is the advanced reader's copy of Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. So as you can imagine, I'm not going to tap or do anything to this one. I'm just going to show it off and then keep it nice and safe. This keeps us on 208 because, yeah, I've already read Catching Fire. I read Catching Fire literally this month. So, but yeah, the arc of Catching Fire. And then he somehow managed to get me the Target exclusive edition of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, which is absolutely stunning. Again, I read this last month, as in January, and so this keeps me at 208. I don't have to do anything for this, but this is the one that people are literally losing their minds over, with the sprayed edges, and then also it's got the artwork inside the book. But yeah, 208. I'm excited as well because it's got the Target sticker on it. I then had a book that was reserved for me at work that I needed to buy, and so I bought another book. There's something actually wrong with me. Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. Essentially, I was waiting for this to come in after it had been traditionally published because it's a lot smaller and cheaper. But this brings us up to 209. 209. So yeah, we're now on 209. Then then the number 209 was really stressing me out, and so I did a little bit of an unhaul. The reason I unhauled these books wasn't because I was like, I've bought too many this month. It was actually because I was making room on my shelf over here to put more of my Hunger Games collection on there, because I've kind of run out of room, and I just had them in the cupboard, and that's a complete waste of me having the collection. So I ended up unhauling a few of the unread books that I had on my shelves to make room for these Hunger Games books. What that now means is that every single one of the books on my shelves I have now read. All of my unread books are on like my TBR cart or on the floor of my room, but I've now read every single one of the books that's behind me, so that feels like a bit of accomplishment. So we were on 209, and I unhauled 6 books, which brings us down to 208, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 203 books. So I'll just rapid show you what they are. So I unhauled Honey by Isabel Banter. So this one brings us down to 208. I'm unhauling Blood Flowers by J. McGuinness, which brings us down to 207. So we're down to 207. I'm unhauling The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James, which brings us down to 206. I am unhauling Signed, Sealed, Dead by Cynthia Murphy, which brings us down to 205, back to where we started. I am unhauling The Sky Is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson, which brings us down to 204. I'm unhauling This Tale Is Forbidden by Polly Crosby, which brings us down to 203. I then read Quicksilver off my TBR, which brings us down to 202. I really feel like I've gone wrong somewhere. Let me know if I have. But I'll check all the numbers at the end and make sure I leave you with at least the correct number. But 202. then read The Tea Dragon Festival by Kay O'Neill, which brings us down to 201. 201. So 201. I then finished my last book of the month, which was A Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, which brings us down to 200. 200. So now at 200, I was then sent The Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli by the publisher, which brings us back up to 201. I've not actually read the first book, so I am going to decide whether I actually want to read the first book so I can get to this one, or if I'm going to give this one away. So 201, and then finally I was given another book by the publisher, which was Kill Creatures by Rory Power, which leaves us at 202. So 202. So yes, I started the month on 205. We went through all of those books and I'm finishing on 202. I don't know whether I feel like guilty or like I've cheated that unhauling books like got the number down, but honestly I think next month I'm just going to do a big purge and unhaul a bunch of books that I just know I am never going to get around to reading, because they just stress me out and like someone else could be enjoying them. I don't need to have them, they're just taking up room. So yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna do an unhaul soon. I'm glad that I did an unhaul in this one. It's making me feel slightly better. I honestly think next month is going to be the month that we get out of the 200s, and once I'm out of the 200s I don't ever want to finish in the 200s again. And I was feeling pretty bad about how many I'd got this month, but then I was thinking like I only actually bought 4 of these books myself. The rest of them were all gifts for my boyfriend, or they were ones that were sent to me by the publishers, and I can't help that. That's not my fault. So I think I actually did quite well. I only bought 4 books, and my aim for this year was to buy less books myself, and so I'm really happy with 4 books. 2 of those are pre-orders as well, so I only actually bought 2 books this month, which I'm really happy about. And yeah, I'm happy with my ending number of 202. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave a like and comment and subscribe if you want to, but don't feel that you have to, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.